Introduction. Think of living a more vibrant, better life and living longer. There are no guarantees, of course, but by following a responsible diet and eating pattern, achieving a normal weight, and by getting into good muscular and cardiovascular shape over the long haul, you can make a considerable difference in your quality of life. You can improve your overall well-being, as well as improving your health and even increasing your longevity. Sound dietary practices and applied serious exercise are the keys to becoming stronger, healthier, and developing more self-confidence, and these benefits are backed up by extensive scientific research. It's true that the right diet combined with a combination of resistance and aerobic exercises can help put more life in your years and put more years in your life. Intermittent fasting, as you'll see, is a viable and potentially beneficial eating pattern that's gaining impressive positive results in testing conducted to date, especially among men who are working on building muscles and strength. This book was written to encourage you, the reader, to want to know more about dietary practices and physical fitness and stimulate your curiosity and interest. It will educate you in simple terms on the basics of nutrition, your metabolism, what foods and eating practices are best for your health and strength, as well as how to perform the exercises that will safely and effectively build your strength, improve your physique, and raise your overall level of fitness. As a result, you'll also develop your sense of self-esteem and confidence and achieve inner peace and calm. We'll alert you to the many misconceptions often fueled by fad diets and purveyors of dietary supplements that can lead you down the wrong path or give you unrealistic expectations. This book is both informative and instructive with a strong scientific orientation to separate fact from fiction and fads relative to diet, exercise, and physical fitness. There are no shortcuts to reducing your weight to a healthy normal range or giving yourself more energy or greater strength and bigger muscles. Achieving these goals takes work, self-discipline, and time. There are no miracle diets or instant results from any exercise. We will help you develop the motivation to get going and the commitment to keep going to reach your life-improving goals. This book is for men of all ages who are concerned about optimal dietary practices and are considering intermittent fasting and who want to build and grow stronger. The objective of this book is to guide you to effective dietary choices and train you in the exercises that have been proven to build muscle through the principle of hypertrophy while burning fat, lowering your weight, and helping to avoid the onset of life-threatening disorders. The author has written books on diet, health, and exercise. Each of these books has been based on in-depth research to extract the finding of scientific and clinical studies so that the information provided is based on clinical testing under rigorous conditions. This book has been built upon all of these studies as well as newer, more contemporary research. This book begins with Chapter 1, A Dietary and Fitness Perspective. It's an introduction to nutrition and diet and to weightlifting, calisthenics, and cardiovascular exercise. The objective of this first chapter is to define and unify the roles of nutrition and exercise in building your muscles and creating your strength, managing your weight, and improving your overall health and longevity. In Chapter 2, Your Nutritional Primer, we cover the basics of nutrition and how our bodies digest and process food, converting the nutrients to metabolism and how muscle fibers are created. You'll meet the bacterial microbiome in your gut and the prebiotics and probiotics that support them and get a review of today's popular diets. Chapter 3 covers the intermittent fasting diet. We zoom in on the concept of dietary fasting. What types of fasting are being practiced, and what do scientific studies reveal about the safety and effectiveness of intermittent fasting? You'll see the advantages and disadvantages, and will be provided with an intermittent diet you can try. We move on to exercise with Chapter 4, Building Muscles and Strength. You'll learn what resistance exercises do to your muscles, the physical sequence of hypertrophy, which is the breaking down and rebuilding of muscle tissues following resistance exercises. You'll understand how it all works and why rest between workouts is essential. The focus is on weightlifting for muscles and strength in Chapter 5, which is a review of the equipment you'll encounter in a gym or fitness center and how to safely and effectively use them. A set of 7 weightlifting exercises for a full-body muscle-building workout is included. An alternative to traditional weightlifting, calisthenics for muscles and strength, is reviewed in Chapter 6. You'll learn how you can perform a full range of resistance exercises using only your body weight. Calisthenics can supplement a traditional workout with weights or serve as an effective resistance program on their own. You'll be shown 7 calisthenic exercises for a full body workout. Cardiovascular conditioning is the subject of Chapter 7. The objective is to provide a comprehensive basis for practicing cardiovascular or aerobic conditioning for better overall fitness and health. A range of options are presented to achieve and sustain the elevated heart rates that are necessary for aerobic conditioning. In Chapter 8, we introduce the diet and fitness lifestyle, which brings together and unifies dietary and exercise practices as inseparable components of a healthier, better way of life. You'll learn about developing your motivation to get started and how to commit to keeping your dietary and fitness practices going. We cover overcoming obstacles and will reveal common misconceptions and misunderstandings. The conclusion sums it all up with a brief recap of the content, summarizing the key points about nutrition, alternative diets, resistance exercises, and aerobic exercises, and how to create a lifestyle of optimal diet and fitness that can be adopted and sustained over the long term. Chapter 1. A Dietary and Fitness Perspective. We begin with an introduction to nutrition and diet, and to weightlifting, calisthenics, and cardiovascular exercise. This chapter aims to clarify the roles of nutrition and exercise in creating strength, building muscles, managing weight, and improving overall health and longevity. You are what you eat. It may be a metaphor, but it's true. Our bodies, from its trillions of cells to its muscles and organs, every part of us, are made from the foods and nutrients we consume. Now, to be clear, by the time the foods get to their ultimate destination, the cells, the foods have been digested and broken down to molecules and atoms, whether the original food was wholesome or not so wholesome. But somehow the cells and the organs they're part of know the difference. According to Daily Health magazine in 2018, eating healthy food is essential in order to enjoy life. So what are healthy foods? The consensus among nutritionists is that our diet should be based on a range of vegetables and fruits, whole grains, nuts, and seeds, extra virgin olive oil, low-fat dairy, eggs, lean meat in limited amounts, and fish. These are typically included in the popular and high-regarded Mediterranean diet. More about this to come. Focusing on a few standouts, the Mayo Clinic in 2021 identifies these foods as exceptionally beneficial and worth your consideration. Almonds. They're a good source of vitamins and minerals, plus fiber and other phytonutrients like antioxidants, beta-carotene, vitamins A and E, riboflavin, magnesium, calcium, and iron. Almonds contain heart-healthy monounsaturated oils, which are believed to lower LDL or bad cholesterol. Apples. Like most fruit, apples are high in fiber and vitamin C, which has antioxidant properties, helps us absorb iron, aids in the formation of collagen, a connective tissue, and keeps blood vessels open and flowing. Blueberries. High in fiber and vitamin C, blueberries are a low-calorie fruit that's believed to help improve short-term memory and slow the aging process. Studies underway indicate that its phytonutrients may help avoid diabetes, heart disease, and even some forms of cancer. Broccoli. People seem to either love or hate broccoli, but it's worth having as a great source of folate and vitamin C with its antioxidant properties. It also provides vitamin A, which improves the health of our eyes. Beans. Whether they're red, white, black, black-eyed, or pinto, beans are a good low-fat source of vegetative protein, as well as phosphorus and iron. Beans are filling and do not require a large serving to fill you up, saving you on calories. If you don't mind overnight soaking, use dried beans, but to save time, choose from the wide selection of canned beans. Go for the low-sodium versions to help avoid high blood pressure. Salmon. One reason this cold-water fatty fish rates highly is its content of omega-3 fatty acids. which are credited with preventing blood clots and irregular heartbeats and preventing the buildup of arterial plaque and triglycerides that can lead to heart attacks. Salmon is low in saturated fats, and this fish is an excellent source of protein. And it's delicious. Spinach. Plant compounds in spinach are thought to improve the immune system, and this dark green plant is another good source of folate and vitamins A and C and the mineral magnesium. Spinach contains carotenoids, which are compounds, including beta-carotene, zeaxanthin, and lutein, which help prevent vision diseases, heart disease, and cancer. Sweet potatoes. The high content of beta-carotene gives sweet potatoes their orange color. When this antioxidant phytonutrient converts to vitamins A and C, it helps protect against some forms of cancer and slows the aging process. This simple food is also a good source of vitamin B6, fiber, and magnesium. Despite natural sweetness, which comes from starches converting to sugars, a small sweet potato or half of a large one contains only about 80 calories. Wheat germ. This is the growth-initiating part of the wheat kernel or seed. While small, it's loaded with nutrients including folate, thiamine, and the minerals magnesium, zinc, and phosphorus. It also provides fiber and protein, plus a small amount of fat in the form of unsaturated oil. Toss a spoonful into your breakfast cereal or oatmeal. These foods are by no means a complete list of those that should be part of a wholesome and healthy diet. For one thing, for muscle building, extra protein will be important since protein is what muscles are made of. The next sections look at some popular diet choices and the need for extra protein. A diversity of diet options. If you go into a large bookstore like Barnes & Noble and head over to the section on food and diet, you'll find a huge amount of books on the subject of diet, including diets for weight loss, better health, living longer, and diets for specific health issues. There are books about fasting and intermittent fasting, which is the subject of the next chapter, but here are some of the other diets that are popular. Be aware that some of these diets can be followed if you practice intermittent fasting. Protein diet. This diet was popularized in the 1970s by cardiologist Dr. Robert Atkins and promises weight loss due to increasing the protein content in the diet and greatly reducing the carbohydrates. Protein diets are controversial and critics claim their risk of heart disease, but they've survived the test of time and remain popular. Protein contains the same 4 calories per gram as carbohydrates, but because protein is constructed of a complexity of amino acids, it's slower to digest and keeps you satiated or feeling fuller longer. Since carbohydrates digest more rapidly, you may be hungrier and more likely to snack if your diet does not contain an adequate amount of protein, especially meat and fish. For bodybuilding enthusiasts, a more protein-intensive diet is recommended. According to a review of 7 scientific studies on the protein requirements of weightlifters to build muscle mass, as summarized in the Journal of International Society of Sports Nutrition 2012, you need to eat between 1.3 and 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight every day. A weightlifter who weighs 80 kilograms needs from 104 to 160 grams of protein daily, which is appreciably more than the 0.8 gram of protein per kilogram or 64 grams daily that is recommended for a healthy adult who weighs 80 kilograms. Ketogenic diet. Familiar as the keto diet, this is a high-fat diet that allows moderate amounts of protein and minimal amounts of carbohydrates. It was developed in medicine to bring epilepsy in children under control, but has since become popular among adults as a weight loss diet with additional benefits. The underlying objective of the keto diet is to encourage the body to generate energy by burning fats instead of carbohydrates. According to nutritionist Rudy Maurer in Healthline 2020, the radical reduction in carbohydrates puts the body into ketosis, which is a metabolic state when the body becomes highly efficient at burning fat instead of carbohydrates for energy. Additionally, fat in the liver is converted to ketones, a source of energy for the brain. Ketogenic diets are also credited with causing appreciable reductions in blood sugar and insulin levels. There's a high-protein version of the keto diet which allows up to 35% of daily calories to be protein. This can be interesting to those seeking to build muscle mass. Important. The keto diet is not recommended if you'll be trying intermittent fasting. For someone who has not tried it before, the keto diet can be difficult, intense, and tiring. Doing this in combination with intermittent fasting can lead to extreme tiredness. More experienced practitioners of the keto diet combine it with intermittent fasting to speed up ketosis, but it will probably be too difficult for a beginner. Mediterranean diet. Many nutritionists say that our diet should be based on a range of vegetables and fruits, whole grains like oats, wheat, rye, brown rice, quinoa, plus nuts and seeds, extra virgin olive oil, low-fat dairy products, eggs, lean meat in limited amounts, and fish, especially cold water fish including salmon, mackerel, sardines, cod, and halibut. Combined, these foods comprise the Mediterranean diet, which originated among coastal residents of the European countries bordering the Mediterranean basin: France, Italy, Spain, Portugal. This population lives longer and healthier than average, and their well-being has been traced to their balanced diet of foods that supply all of the macronutrients and micronutrients needed for optimal nutrition. Importantly, these people also pursue an active lifestyle, avoiding being sedentary and maintaining a healthy weight by managing the quantities of foods they consume. They don't count calories, but simply avoid overeating. This diet also encourages moderate consumptions of dark chocolate with at least 70% cacao content and red wine, which contains resveratrol, a nutrient which is believed to reduce the risk of heart disease and other disorders. Men are advised to limit their daily wine consumption to 2 5-ounce glasses. Paleolithic diet. This is a more recently introduced diet that's based on the eating practices of our earlier ancestors, the hunter-gatherers of Paleolithic times from 2.5 million to 10,000 years ago. The underlying principle of the paleo diet is that the foods these earlier humans ate were totally natural and unprocessed. Our bodies still retain an evolutionary preference for these foods and not more recently developed or manipulated foods. In essence, our bodies are genetically mismatched with certain modern foods. In many ways, the paleo diet resembles the Mediterranean diet with these important exceptions. Grain, beans, and dairy products are excluded, as are meats that are not from wild or grass-fed sources. These exceptions are based when the agricultural revolution began 10,000 years ago. Grains and beans were planted and animals were domesticated. According to the followers of the paleo diet, our bodies have not evolved to digest and metabolize these modern foods effectively. Is it a healthy diet? The Mayo Clinic in 2021 reports that small-scale randomized clinical trials comparing the paleo diet to other diets, including the Mediterranean diet, found that the paleo diet may provide certain benefits including weight loss, lower triglycerides and blood pressure, and improved glucose tolerance. Those who are allergic to gluten in wheat or rye or to the lactose in dairy can benefit from the restrictions to grains and dairy. But there are concerns that the exclusion of grains, beans, and dairy may result in calcium and protein deficiencies and shortfalls in vitamins and minerals. Purchasing wild or grass-fed meats may make the paleo diet expensive. Hypertrophy, building muscles through resistance. Resistance exercises are how your muscles are built and are what will make you stronger. Thanks to the force of gravity, dumbbells and barbells offer the resistance you need. So does your own body weight. Resistance is also provided by weighted cables and machines whose level of resistance can be adjusted, and you can experience resistance pulling on rubber straps and tubes. You can perform resistance exercises in a gym or fitness center, or at home, or in a park. There are 2 types of resistance exercises: weightlifting and body weight calisthenics. There are dedicated chapters to both types, but first, let's understand how resistance exercises work to increase the size of your muscles and build your strength. Hypertrophy. When your muscles are exerted to a point of strain, and that strain is continued or repeated a certain number of times within a short time, some of the muscle fibers that contract during the exercise are damaged by the effort. If the muscles are then allowed to rest for at least 1 or 2 days, if you're older, your body goes to work repairing the damage by replacing the damaged muscular protein with new, healthy protein. In doing so, a small, incremental amount of protein is supplied, making the repaired muscle tissue slightly larger. Although this occurs at the microscopic cellular level, the added muscle tissue becomes visibly larger over time and greater strength is achieved. This is the process of myofibrillar hypertrophy, the growth of the muscles that contract to perform work. Healthline in 2019 says that to build muscle you need to have both mechanical damage and metabolic fatigue. To lift a heavy weight, contractile proteins in the muscles must generate force to overturn the resistance, which is caused by the weight and causes structural damage to the muscles. Mechanical damage to muscle protein stimulates a repair response in the body. The damaged fibers in muscle protein result in an increase in muscle size. Healthline also reminds us a protein-rich diet is also important for muscle growth. Be sure to rely on protein-providing foods, including lean meat, chicken, and fish, as well as plant-based protein powders. Try to eat or drink a protein source within 30 minutes of a workout. Building heart health through cardiovascular exercise. Have you wondered about all those people jogging and running, walking and hiking, cycling, swimming laps, using elliptical machines, treadmills, and stair climbers? Or are you already one of them? Whether you're actively practicing cardiovascular conditioning or not, you are undoubtedly aware that these exercises reportedly benefit the heart and circulatory system and can help prevent or slow the onset of heart disease, obesity, type 2 diabetes, and other diseases, including some forms of cancer. Cardio conditioning, or aerobics, is also believed to slow the symptoms of Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia. But is all this true? Let's look at the research findings and review the facts. According to Dr. Eric von Eiderson, a clinical exercise physiologist at the Cleveland Clinic, in 2021 said, as part of a heart-protective lifestyle, regular cardiovascular exercise can decrease your resting blood pressure levels and reduce your heart rate, which means your heart doesn't have to work hard continuously, giving it time to rest and recover from stress and overwork. Cardio exercising makes the heart stronger. Cardio exercise can benefit many other body parts and functions, including brain health. A study proved that regular aerobic activity may reduce the risk of dementia at any age. Other benefits cited by Dr. Van Eiderson include improved blood flow and reduced risk of stroke, enhanced thinking ability and memory, and reduced decline in functioning of the brain as we age, including protection against developing Alzheimer's disease or at least slowing its onset. Helping to manage the pain and discomfort of arthritis and maintaining the range of motion of the joints. Cardio conditioning also helps prevent osteoporosis and reduces the risk of broken bones and hip fractures. Regular cardiovascular exercise also helps prevent obesity and encourages maintaining a healthy weight. This reduces the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. There's a positive relationship between resistance exercises and cardiovascular conditioning, which increases the oxygen supply to your muscles, enabling them to work harder. Over time, regular cardio exercise allows your muscles to adapt to an increased workload, making regular activities seem easier, according to Dr. Van Eiderson. This means that if you practice resistance workouts, seeking to build and increase strength, cardio conditioning will enhance the effects of your resistance workouts and support the hypertrophy muscle building process. When combined with a heart-healthy nutritional diet, you can count on weight loss when doing regular cardiovascular exercise. By being less sedentary, spending less time sitting, helping you to maintain a healthy weight. There are more benefits to regular cardiovascular conditioning, which we'll cover later in Chapter 7. The chapter will guide you to cardio workouts you can handle and enjoy, while helping to keep you healthier, happier, and with greater chances of improved longevity. Chapter 2. Your Nutritional Primer. Let's get into the basics of nutrition and how our bodies digest and process food, converting the nutrients to metabolism, and how muscle fibers are created. You'll discover the importance of the bacterial microbiome in your gut and the prebiotics and probiotics that support them. Nutrition, macronutrients, and micronutrients. Nutrition is the ingestion, digestion, processing, and absorption of the different molecular substances in the food we eat and how our bodies use them, and further extends to the connections between health and diseases and the foods in our diets. The sciences of biochemistry, genetics, and molecular biology are involved in the study of nutrients and the role they play in affecting our bodies. Within the study of nutrition, there are many analyses of research that show a relationship between dietary choices and health, diseases, and allergies. These relationships can be affected by what is eaten and in what quantities. Nutrition also focuses on how people can use dietary choices to reduce the risk of disease, on what happens if a person has too much or too little of a nutrient, and how allergies work. Nutrients nourish us, keeping us healthy and alive. We need the right nutrients, and we need them in the right balance. Virtually all nutrients are either macronutrients or are vitamins and minerals, which are known as micronutrients. Macronutrients. 3 basic food groups. Let's drill down on the nutrients. First, the macronutrients. Carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, as reported in Medical News Today in 2020. Carbohydrates supply energy and are the sugars, starches, and fibers that we take in when we eat vegetables, fruits, seeds, and nuts, and grains, and potatoes, and foods sweetened with sugar. We need carbs for energy as an essential part of our diet, and in terms of calories, they account for the largest amount of the 3 macronutrients. But refined sugars and other refined carbs like white breads, sweetened cereals, honey, and other syrups, soft drinks, and other foods that are loaded with sugar can be detrimental to our health. They can cause sugar spikes in our blood, which over time and excess may lead to type 2 diabetes. Refined carbs tend to be digested quickly, resulting in not feeling full and snacking and eating more frequently. Sugar and refined carbs are often referred to as empty calories because they provide no micronutrients or fiber, just 4 calories per gram. In contrast, fiber and starches are complex carbohydrates. They are slower to digest and less likely to cause sugar spikes in your blood. Some fiber is digested and used for energy. Other forms are harder to digest but are metabolized by the gut bacteria in the microbiome, explained as follows. A diet high in fiber has been found to lower the risk of colorectal cancer and heart disease. A fiber-rich diet also helps reduce the symptoms of gastrointestinal disorders. Whole grains, beans, nuts, seeds, fruits, and vegetables are good sources of fiber. Proteins. Proteins are the structural building blocks of our bodies. Every cell, muscle, organ, nerve, red and white corpuscle in our blood, hormone, and enzyme is made of protein. Even our bones contain large amounts of protein. As read in the previous chapter, your body calls on protein to repair and restore muscle tissue damaged from exercise, the process known as hypertrophy. Proteins are very complex molecules that are made of 20 amino acid molecules. Of these 20 amino acids, 9 cannot be supplied by our bodies and must be obtained from our diet. These 9 are known as essential amino acids. Complete proteins containing all 20 amino acids in our diets are obtained primarily from animal sources: lean meats, fish, dairy, and eggs. A few plant-sourced foods supply complete protein: soy, quinoa, and buckwheat. Grains, nuts, seeds, and legumes or beans contain incomplete protein. Still, a vegetarian or vegan diet can obtain complete protein by eating complementary plant sources. A classic example is a meal with grains, for instance rice and beans. Fats are concentrated molecules of energy. Unlike carbohydrates, which are used for immediate energy needs, fats were designed by nature to be stored for later needs. To facilitate their storage role, fats are compact, containing 9 calories per gram compared to 4 calories per gram for carbs and proteins. Fats play a number of essential roles in our body, including helping the organs to produce hormones, lubricating the joints, enabling absorption of oil-soluble vitamins like vitamins A and E, reducing inflammation when the immune system overreacts, and preserving the health of the brain. We're cautioned to limit eating saturated fat found in meat and dairy products, which can lead to elevated LDL or bad cholesterol and triglycerides, which are precursors of heart disease. Healthy fats, which are recommended by cardiologists, are monounsaturated extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, and fats from cold water fish like salmon. Micronutrients, by comparison, are consumed in very small quantities but are essential for our health and functionality. They include minerals and vitamins, each of which has specific roles to perform. Minerals include fundamental elements like potassium and sodium, both of which are electrolytes that allow the muscles, nerves, heart, kidneys, and other organs to operate. Our bones and teeth depend on calcium and phosphorus for strength and health. We use magnesium to help nerves and muscles to operate, regulate blood sugar levels, and regulate blood pressure. Magnesium also helps our bodies to produce DNA, bones, and protein. Zinc also helps produce protein and also supports cellular health, the functioning of the immune system, and the healing of wounds. Iron in our blood cells carries oxygen to every cell in our bodies and also helps form hormones and connective tissue. Vitamins are organic compounds that are needed in small quantities but are essential as antioxidants that protect cellular damage by free radicals, which are toxic molecules. Water-soluble vitamins include the B group, break down blood sugar and metabolize foods, produce cells, plus genetic molecules RNA and DNA, and vitamin C for collagen production, healing, bone formation, strengthening blood vessels, and helping the immune system. Fat-soluble vitamins include A for eye health, D for bone mineralization and density, E, an antioxidant which neutralizes free radicals and reduces inflammation, and K for blood clotting. Unlike water-soluble vitamins, which need to be replaced daily, fat-soluble vitamins can be stored by our bodies. What are the sources of vitamins and minerals? Most need to be supplied by the foods we eat since they cannot be produced by our bodies. A balanced diet with fruit and vegetables, whole grains, nuts and seeds, lean meats in small quantities, low-fat dairy, eggs, beans, and monounsaturated oils will provide all needed micronutrients without the need for supplements. To learn more, see the previous chapter and review the discussion of the Mediterranean diet. Weight. Calories in, calories out. Weight control really boils down to one thing: calories. Despite all the diet strategies out there, weight management still comes down to the calories you take in versus those you burn off. The Mayo Clinic from 2020. It's known for short as CICO, and it means that there's no getting around the reality of when we take in and digest more calories than we burn or metabolize, we gain weight, and when we digest fewer calories than we burn, we lose weight. How much weight? 1 pound of your body weight has the energy of 3,500 calories, so an extra 350 calories a day can add 1 pound every 10 days. Not so bad, you might be thinking, but that can add up to 36 pounds a year, so maybe that extra helping of cheesecake isn't such a good idea. Each of us indeed has a unique metabolic rate, so we burn calories at different rates. But if your metabolism is slow, you may need to eat less than anyone who's your age, height, and weight, but whose metabolism is faster than yours. The Mayo Clinic in 2021 describes it this way: regardless of where they come from, the calories you eat are either converted to physical energy or stored within your body as fat. Those extra calories will stay in your body stored as fat unless they're used up by reducing how many calories you take in. So that your body must draw on reserves for energy or by increasing physical activity so that you burn more calories. Here's where exercise comes in, but within limits. You can burn extra calories by speeding up your metabolism through exercise, either resistance or cardiovascular, or both. Cardio has the edge here because it tends to elevate your heart rate and your metabolism faster and longer than weightlifting or calisthenics. But unfortunately, the 440 calories the treadmill says you just burned during that 4-mile run will not let you get back to that cheesecake. Why? Our metabolisms tend to seek consistency and may slow down later or during sleep to compensate, so your net extra calories burned for the 24-hour period may only be about 150 or 200. So yes, exercise can help with weight management, but within certain limits. To be specific, you can't burn it all off, but the combination of exercise and eating a balanced diet in reasonable quantities will get you where you need to be. Portions and substitutions. The most significant cause of 2/3 of Americans being either overweight or obese is how much they eat. If you watch the portion sizes of what you eat, you'll not have to count calories. Make vegetables and grains or beans occupy most of your plate, and be sure your protein course is really lean with no visible fat. Make your morning coffee black with no calories, or with low-fat milk instead of the 134 calories in a flavored latte. Choose strawberries or other fruit for dessert with 48 calories instead of 300 or more calories in half a cup of ice cream, which contains large amounts of sugar and saturated dairy fats. Drink calorie-free water or sparkling water instead of a sugar and calorie-laden soft drink. Volumetrics. Another technique to reduce your caloric intake in a healthy way is called volumetrics. Start your main meal of the day with a nutritious, bulky, low-calorie selection. The best example is a salad with an assortment of vegetables and a low-calorie dressing, or only olive oil and vinegar, either apple cider or balsamic. This will start to fill you up and leave less room for the higher calorie course to follow. Another volumetric option is a cup or bowl of soup. Even a clear consommé or miso soup has almost no calories, but will start the filling sensation. Metabolism and the digestive process. Metabolism. We often hear about it in regards to digestion, weight management, and other health issues, but what is it exactly? In terms, metabolism is the essential process your body uses to maintain life by converting foods that you eat into the energy that your body needs. It's a vital process for humans and all other living beings. As the Mayo Clinic in 2021, the staff explains metabolism. During this complex process, calories in food and beverages are combined with oxygen to release the energy your body needs to function. Our bodies need to burn energy 24/7, whether we're active or at rest, awake or asleep, to fuel breathing, the circulation of our blood, to adjust hormone levels and repair cells and help them to reproduce and grow. Energy is needed for hypertrophy to repair and rebuild damaged muscle cells. The number of calories a person's entire body uses to perform all these basic functions is called the basal metabolic rate, or for short, metabolism. There are three primary purposes carried out by the metabolic process. 1. The conversion of food into the energy needed to fuel cellular operations. 2. Conversion of food into the building blocks that form proteins, including some fats and lipids, certain carbohydrates, and for the nucleic acids that make up the DNA. 3. Elimination of metabolic waste materials. Metabolism is the sum total of all the energy consumed by these chemical reactions as it works quietly and continually, enabling us and all living organisms to reproduce, grow, maintain structural integrity, and be responsive to environmental stimuli. Digestion is defined by Wikipedia in 2021 as the breakdown of large food particles into small, water-soluble molecules that are able to be absorbed into the bloodstream, where it's carried throughout the body to nourish the cells. Here's how this works. The first stage of the process is called mechanical digestion. It's the initial breaking down of large pieces of food by the stomach's acids and grinding. The food is transformed into a sludge-like consistency. As the food passes from the stomach to the small intestine, it then undergoes chemical digestion. It's then further broken down into molecular size by digestive enzymes in the small intestine. When the molecules are sufficiently small, they pass through membranes in the intestinal walls into the plasma liquid of the bloodstream and off to the capillaries that deliver the nutrients to the cells. This brings us back to the role of your metabolism. As the food molecules are carried to the cells, the rate that the energy or calories are metabolized is a function of your own metabolic rate, which does not vary even if part of your day is physically active. Depending on your metabolic rate, you metabolize a basic number of calories each day. Based on the principle of calories in, calories out, if those calories are equal in number to those you digest, you'll neither gain nor lose weight. Microbiome, prebiotics, and probiotics. We are not alone. In recent years, medical research has confirmed the presence of trillions of bacteria in our gut, primarily in the small and large intestine. If that isn't enough, there may be an equal number of viruses present as well. There are also fungi. Collectively, these microorganisms are known as the microbiome. Fortunately, most, if not all, of these guests are symbiotic or beneficial and play essential roles in supporting our digestive processes and strengthening our immune system. However, there are also potentially harmful pathogenic microbes present. Our role should be focused on ensuring our microbiome's well-being and avoiding any activity that could disrupt their robust vitality and functions. We need to be aware that under normal conditions, the beneficial microbiota and the pathogenic minority are in balance and we stay healthy. But should an imbalance occur, the pathogenic microbiota may create disease. An imbalance can result from dietary choices, illnesses, and often from antibiotics. According to Harvard's T.H. Chan School of Public Health in 2021, microbiota stimulate the immune system, break down potentially toxic food compounds, and synthesize certain vitamins and amino acids. In addition to the complex of B vitamins and vitamin K, the enzymes needed to create vitamin B12 are only found in bacteria, not in plants and animals. Prebiotics. While proteins take longer to break down, they're kept in the stomach and worked on longer before advancing to the intestines for absorption. Fats and simple carbohydrates like sugars are easily digested, but some resistant starches, gums, pectins, cellulose, and other fibers are more complex and not easily digested. They're known as prebiotics and are nutrients targeted to microbiota in the large intestine, the colon. These complex carbohydrates continue through the digestive tract. Usually they reach the large intestine where the bacteria in the microbiome break down these indigestible substances with the help of their digestive enzymes. The resulting molecules, called short-chain fatty acids, can then be used by the body as nutrients. There are supplements you can purchase to obtain prebiotic fibers, but there are many healthful foods naturally containing prebiotics, including vegetables, fruits, whole grains, beans, nuts, seeds, all making supplements unnecessary. Probiotics are external sources of bacteria present in certain foods like yogurt and sauerkraut, or as capsules available over the counter in pharmacies. The foods and capsules reportedly contain billions of beneficial bacteria that you consume to augment the existing bacteria in the gut and throughout the body. The value of probiotics has been questioned despite their growing popularity. But Harvard's Chan School of Public Health's Dr. Alan Walker, who's also professor of nutrition at Harvard Medical School, believes that despite conflicting research, there may be situations in which probiotic supplements may be helpful. Walker says, probiotics can be most effective at both ends of the age spectrum because that's when your microbes aren't as robust as they normally are. You can influence this huge bacterial colonization process more effectively with probiotics during these periods. He also identifies times of stress where probiotics may help reduce the severity of diarrhea after an attack of pathogens or to replenish intestinal microbiome bacteria after treatment using antibiotics. But Walker believes that while probiotics can make a difference when there's a disruption of intestinal balance, for a healthy adult or older child who isn't taking antibiotics, he says, I don't think giving a probiotic is going to be that effective in generally helping their health. The takeaway on probiotics and prebiotics is that in most situations, you don't need a supplement. Still, it's a good idea to include foods in your diet that are high in fiber and foods rich in live bacteria cultures like yogurt, sauerkraut, and other pickled vegetables, kefir, tempeh and kombucha tea. Be sure to eat the bacteria-containing foods uncooked to keep the cultures alive. Chapter 3. The Intermittent Fasting Diet. Now, let's zoom in on the concept of intermittent dietary fasting. What types of fasting are being practiced, and what do scientific studies reveal about the safety and effectiveness of intermittent fasting? We compare the key benefits of these types of fasts and provide a couple of recommended intermittent fasting approaches you can try. It's important to understand that intermittent fasting is not actually a diet because it's not specifically concerned with the types of foods you eat. It's concerned with when you do or don't eat anything. As you'll see, balanced nutrition is essential regardless of what type of intermittent fasting approach you may want to practice. It's also important to acknowledge that available intermittent fasting tests are encouraging. Intermittent fasting proves to be beneficial for those seeking to build muscles and increase strength. For example, young adult men who followed a 16-8 intermittent fasting for 16 consecutive hours and eating limited to an 8-hour period, experienced a fat loss while maintaining. What is intermittent fasting? So far, our discussion of diet, nutrition, muscle building, and weight management has been focused on what we eat and how much we eat. Now we're changing gears and looking into when we eat, specifically the concept of intermittent fasting. A quick heads up before we begin. While you may follow a variety of nutritional diets, the keto or ketogenic diet is not recommended if you're going to try intermittent fasting. For a beginner who has not tried it before, the very low carbohydrate keto diet can be difficult, intense, and tiring. Doing this in combination with intermittent fasting can lead to extreme tiredness. Okay, what is it? With intermittent fasting, eating is restricted to specific times requiring fasting, which means not eating anything, for a limited number of hours each day, eating just one meal a day or even fasting for 24, 48, or more hours. Regardless of the selected way of practicing intermittent fasting, all versions are based on selecting consistent times to eat and consistent times to fast. There are different intermittent fasting schedules listed briefly here and in greater detail further below. One schedules to eat only during an 8-hour period every day and to fast for the remaining 16 hours of the day. For example, eating between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. and then fasting between 4 p.m. and 8 a.m. the following morning. A more intensive variation is eating during a 6-hour period and fasting for 18 hours. This could be fasting from 4 p.m. until 10 a.m. the next morning, and then eating between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. Or you can decide to eat just one meal a day on 2 days a week and eat 3 meals on the other days. Depending on your preference, one meal can be at any time of the day, like a late breakfast or brunch, a late lunch, or an early dinner, not to be too late in the evening to avoid going to bed on a full stomach. As noted, we'll cover these variations of fasting later in this chapter. Key benefit: burning fat. Intermittent fasting is claimed to help your body burn fat. After a certain number of hours without eating food, the body uses up its needed supply of sugar in the form of glycogen and turns to its fat reserves to burn for energy. This process is known as metabolic switching, a term coined by Mark Mattson, Ph.D., a neuroscientist at Johns Hopkins Medicine. During the 25 years he studied intermittent fasting, Dr. Mattson has come to believe that we have evolved to fast for long hours or even for days at a time as a consequence of the scarcities encountered during countless generations of our being hunters and gatherers. Our ancestors, whose genetic profiles we've inherited, evolved to expend energy searching for food to gather and tracking and chasing game while going for days without eating. Natural selection favored those who could keep up the pace under these harsh conditions, those whose bodies could call on their fat reserves and enable them to survive. In contrast, our modern prosperous lifestyles make food available to us at any time we want and in ample quantities, and we need to expend only minimal energy to obtain it, leading to sedentary behavior. The result? a regular ingestive flow of food that can be used for energy, and therefore there's no necessity for our bodies to turn to our fat supply for energy. Intermittent fasting not only pays tribute to our long-ago predecessors, but borrows from their experience to return to the fat-burning consequences of going for long times without eating, challenging our bodies to find energy from within. Dr. Mattson says, intermittent fasting contrasts with the normal eating pattern for most Americans who eat throughout their waking hours. A person is typically eating 3 meals a day and helping themselves to snacks, and they're not exercising, so every time they eat, they're running on those calories and not burning their fat stores. What scientific studies reveal. There also appears to be scientific evidence that intermittent fasting provides certain health benefits as well. A study co-authored by Dr. Mattson and Dr. Rafael de Cabo, Effects of Intermittent Fasting on Health, Aging, and Disease, that was published in the prestigious New England Journal of Medicine in 2020, presented a set of research-based health benefits associated with intermittent fasting, including a leaner body, a sharper mind, and a longer life. Evidence is accumulating that eating in a 6-hour period and fasting for 18 hours can trigger a metabolic switch from glucose-based to ketone-based energy with increased stress resistance, increased longevity, and a decreased incidence of diseases including cancer and obesity. Importantly, intermittent fasting was found to be of significant benefit in improving physical performance and lowering fat levels while maintaining. Many things happen during intermittent fasting that can protect organs against chronic diseases like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, age-related neurodegenerative disorders, and even inflammatory bowel disease and many cancers, Mattson reports. Here are some of the intermittent fasting benefits that laboratory research has discovered to date. Note that these positive findings include both human and animal tests. Physical performance. Young adult males who followed a 16-8 intermittent fast experienced fat loss while maintaining. Mice that were given food only on alternate days demonstrated improved endurance in treadmill running tests. Memory and thinking. Intermittent fasting was found to boost verbal memory in adult humans and to raise working memory in animals. Cardiovascular health. Intermittent fasting was found to lower blood pressure and resting heart rates and improve other heart-related measurements. Obesity and diabetes. Intermittent fasting prevented obesity in animal studies, while obese adult humans lost weight through intermittent fasting, as confirmed in 6 brief studies. Tissue health. Intermittent fasting reduced tissue damage and improved results in animals following surgery. What to expect? Once you begin intermittent fasting, how long should it take to see and feel results? According to Dr. Mattson's research, it may require a 2 to 4 week period before your body adjusts to intermittent fasting. Typical experiences are hunger, and you may become cranky at times or feel tense. These experiences are normal and not a cause for concern as you acclimatize to the new routine. But Mattson finds that his research subjects who continue through the adjustment period have a tendency to stay with the fasting plan because they begin to feel more energetic and better overall. Is intermittent fasting safe? Studies indicate that intermittent fasting is safe in general and has been used successfully to help with weight management and to deal with chronic conditions including high cholesterol levels, irritable bowel syndrome, and even arthritis. But intermittent fasting isn't for everyone. Consistent with our earlier caution, dietitians recommend that before you try to practice intermittent fasting, you should speak with your doctor to make sure that you have no conditions that you might exacerbate. In general, adult males without underlying conditions should be okay. Still, for the record, some people should steer clear of intermittent fasting, including those who are below age 18, have blood sugar or diabetes issues, and anyone who has eating disorders. Intermittent fasting options. Johns Hopkins dietitian Christy Williams, MSRDN, recommends trying reasonable, not extreme, intermittent fasting to begin. Then, over time, test out more challenging versions. She advises that before starting intermittent fasting, it's important to speak with your doctor just in case you may have a condition that might be aggravated by fasting. Your doctor may want to ensure that the foods you eat are providing balanced nutrition. Concerns over what you eat remain entirely relevant if you're trying intermittent fasting. Recall the caution at the beginning of this chapter. If you're on a ketogenic diet with its sharp reduction of carbohydrates and emphasis on fats, there are concerns that an intermittent diet could be dangerous. Do not mix a keto diet with intermittent fasting. Upon receiving the doctor's go-ahead, dietitian Williams says that practicing intermittent fasting is not complicated. She strongly suggests beginners practice a daily fast which restricts the time when eating is permitted to a single 6 to 8 hour period every day. For instance, you may choose to try 16-8 fasting, which allows eating for 8 hours followed by fasting for 16 hours. Williams prefers the daily fasting regimen for its consistency, saying that most people, especially beginners, find it easier to stay with this pattern over time. Once it becomes routine, it will seem natural and normal. These are two of the most popular versions of daily intermittent fasting that you can try. 16-8 Intermittent Fast. The recommended schedule is to eat only during an 8-hour period every day and to fast for the remaining 16 hours of the day. For example, eating between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. and fasting between 4 p.m. and 8 a.m. the following morning. Alternatively, you may prefer a later schedule. Begin your eating time with breakfast at 10 a.m. and continue to eat 1 or 2 other meals until 6 p.m. when the fast begins and continues until 10 a.m. the following morning. If you work out first thing in the morning, it may make to wait until 10 a.m. seem shorter, especially if it takes some time to cool down and shower. Apart from these two examples, you may choose any pattern of 16-8 intermittent fasting that's most comfortable as long as you stick with the discipline of eating nothing for 16 consecutive hours. 18-6 intermittent fast. This is a more intensive variation which permits eating during a 6-hour period and requires fasting for 18 hours. One scheduling option could be eating between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m., followed by fasting from 4 p.m. until 10 a.m. the next morning. For those who tend to skip or downplay breakfast, the alternative of a later schedule may be preferable, eating between noon and 6 p.m., followed by fasting until 12 noon the next day. As with the 16-8 fasting plan, you may choose any pattern of 18-6 intermittent fasting that is most comfortable for you. While these two versions require fasting for long periods every day, there are other fasting practices that are limited to a few days a week. For example, the 5-2 intermittent fast. You can decide to eat just one 500 to 600 calorie meal per day on 2 days a week and eat 3 meals without fasting on the other days. Depending on your preference, the one meal can be at any time of the day, like a late breakfast or a brunch, a late lunch or an early dinner. It shouldn't be too late in the evening to avoid going to bed on an overly full stomach, which can cause insomnia, indigestion, or acid reflux. For example, you could choose to eat normally most days of the week except for Mondays and Thursdays, which would be single meal days. You may choose any 2 days to limit to one meal, but they should be a few days apart, like Saturdays and Tuesdays or Sundays and Wednesdays. It will be easier to maintain consistency and not get messed up on days if you stick to the same days of the week. Fasting for longer periods like 24 or 36 or 48 hours or longer is not recommended. There's no evidence that longer fasts offer any benefits, and they can be dangerous. A possible consequence of prolonged fasting could be encouraging your body to store more fat as a defense against starvation. This would cause a serious loss of energy as your body tries to conserve fuel and, in effect, causes the reverse of the fat-burning benefits of the 16-8 or 18-6 intermittent fasts. What to eat during intermittent fasting? While you're to ingest no calories during the fasting period, you're free to drink water, black coffee, and black or green tea. This can be refreshing and will help to prevent dehydration. But dietitian Williams offers this practical advice. During your eating periods, Eat normally does not mean going crazy. You're not likely to lose weight or get healthier if you pack your feeding times with high-calorie junk food, supersized fried items, and treats. Other authorities also advise avoiding deep-fried foods, which are loaded with unhealthy fats and refined flour. Overly processed meats like bacon, sausages, and canned meats, which contain saturated fats and chemical preservatives, as well as sugar and fat-laden desserts and beverages. The authorities at Johns Hopkins Medicine encourage eating a diversity of healthy foods. They cite the Mediterranean diet for its wide range of wholesome foods as ideal while practicing intermittent fasting, saying, "You can hardly go wrong when you pick complex, unrefined carbohydrates such as whole grains, leafy greens, healthy fats, and lean protein." As has been mentioned, remember that protein is harder to digest due to its molecular complexity, so it stays in the stomach and keeps you feeling fuller longer. So eating protein, especially lean meat or fish, can help you avoid hunger pangs during the fasting cycle. But you're not limited to specific foods and are encouraged to try new foods to enrich your eating experience. Feel free to try new foods as long as they're healthy and not detrimental to your weight management of overall well-being. Remember the reality of calories in, calories out, and be careful to control the size of your portions. It's less about what you eat and more about how much you eat. As you consider intermittent fasting, you can be reassured that it will not be detrimental to muscle and strength building, and it may help lower the percentage of your body fat. So this leads to Chapter 4 and details about building muscles. Chapter 4. Building Muscles and Strength. Now we'll discover how resistance exercises can develop your muscles through the physical sequence of hypertrophy, which is the breaking down and rebuilding of muscle tissues following resistance exercises. You'll learn more about how it works, why rest between workouts is essential, and consider how much weight you should lift, how often each week you should lift it, and how fast each lifting and lowering movement should be. On a note of safety, resistance exercises, whether lifting heavy iron dumbbells and pulling the handles and cables on a machine in a fitness center, or when performing a sequence of body weight calisthenics exercises at home, medical authorities are supportive and encouraging regardless of your age, but with certain cautions. Ask your doctor. In the spirit of the Hippocratic Oath, first, do no harm. Before beginning an exercise program which includes cardio and resistance, get checked on and make sure there aren't any illnesses or conditions that might interfere with your workouts or, even more importantly, anything that exercises can aggravate or make worse. The biggest risks for resistance movements is lifting weights that are too heavy. This can cause pulled or torn muscles, ligaments, or connective tissues. These injuries can set you back for weeks or months, and in some cases can require surgery, as with a torn rotator cuff muscle in the shoulder. Always begin with lighter weights, and as discussed below, only lift weights that you raise or pull without straining. You should be able to perform 8 reps. Anything less is too heavy. More or less weight. A team of exercise physiologists conducted a systematic review and meta-analysis of 21 studies that compared changes in strength and muscle-building hypertrophy between low-weight and heavy-weight training practices. Each of these studies, which involved training over 6 weeks or longer, compared the results of lifting very heavy weights for only 1 to 5 reps to achieve fatigue, to lifting lighter weights, which required a much greater number of reps, 8 to 12, to achieve exhaustion. A test of whether you've worked to fatigue in the first set is not being able to do as many reps in the second and third sets. The research findings, as reported in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research in 2017, are decisive. Maximal strength benefits are obtained from the use of heavy loads, while muscle hypertrophy, or growth, can be equally achieved across a spectrum of loading ranges. Therefore, if you're focusing more on increasing strength, using very heavy weights and fewer reps will be more productive. But if you're more concerned about building lean muscle mass through hypertrophy, you have the choice of either option. If you're middle-aged or older, the safer alternative is to lower the weights and perform more reps. Based on those studies, you can achieve the same positive muscle growth with 8 to 12 reps of a lighter weight as with 1 or 2 reps of a much heavier weight. This assumes that in each case you work to exhaustion and find the last 1 or 2 reps to be challenging and hard to complete. As an alternative, body weight calisthenics can give you a challenging workout with less risk of overdoing weights. Ignore the others. Don't attempt to keep up with others working out. Each of us has individual abilities, strengths, and weaknesses. Just because the person near you is curling a 60-pound barbell doesn't mean you can do so safely. It's better for you to start with, say, a 20-pound barbell and do many more reps. In time, you can and will work your way upwards in weights, but for the beginning phases, be cautious and careful. Rest. Never disregard or underestimate the importance of rest and recovery. In the next section on hypertrophy, the essential role of rest to enable muscle recovery and growth is explained. It's far better to delay a workout by a day than to advance it by a day and interfere with the rebuilding. Age is a factor to be recognized. While you can lift weights at any age, the amount of weight lifted will tend to go down slowly after age 40 or 50. And the rest time needed for repair will tend to become longer. A 1-day rest period may work for a 20-year-old, but 2 or 3 days of rest may be better when you're 55. The process of hypertrophy. Hypertrophy is the cycle of muscular damage and energy depletion that initially weakens and reduces the volume of muscles that you're working hard, but recovers to rebuild and strengthen the damaged muscle tissue when followed by adequate rest. Within the scope of a few days, these changes are occurring at a microscopic level, but over time and with regular exercise, the process of hypertrophy increases muscle size and muscle strength. Muscular hypertrophy occurs in 2 types. Myofibrillar hypertrophy involves the muscle parts that contract when you perform work, and the muscle tenses and tightens. Myofibrillar training is performed with heavier weights and fewer reps and helps to develop strength and speed. Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy increases muscle glycogen storage and is mediated by endurance exercises, such as lifting a light weight for many reps. This can provide your body with longer-lasting energy and endurance, which can carry you through extended exertions. To recall the explanation from the introductory chapter, according to health and fitness expert Jane Chertoff in Healthline in 2019, to build muscle, you first need to have 2 destructive cellular conditions: mechanical damage and metabolic fatigue. Mechanical damage means that when you lift a heavy muscle a sufficient number of times, the strain on the engaged muscles as they contract causes damage to the structure of the muscles. In other words, the cells and tissue fibers that the muscles are composed of are physically damaged. Tiny particles of muscle protein become dysfunctional from the exertion and are carried away as waste as part of the metabolic process. In effect, the muscle becomes temporarily smaller and less strong. Metabolic fatigue means the energy stores within the exerted muscles become depleted, and very quickly, the muscles become less able to exert force or, specifically, to continue lifting the weight. This is what happens when you lift a heavy weight for all the reps you can handle, and the reason you're struggling to complete that last rep is that the glycogen, or fuel, is depleted and the muscle is fatigued. When you then rest for a minute or 2 before resuming the next set of reps, some of the depleted glycogen and oxygen are replaced, and you can again put the muscles to work until you fatigue them again, having depleted the available energy. The mechanical damage and repeated fatigue done to the protein molecules that make up the muscle create the body's repair responses. As a result, the damaged fibers in muscle proteins cause a small increase in the size of the muscles. The harder the muscles are worked, within limits, of course, to avoid excess strains or more permanent damage, the greater the hypertrophic rebuilding. Intensity and timing of workouts. Workout timing. This leads to the question of how much weight should you be lifting, safely, but enough to build muscles and strength, and how many times to lift it. Testing confirms that it's not necessary to exert your muscles to the extent of failure when you cannot complete the last couple of repetitions and still achieve the desired results you hope for. Studies cited in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research in 2010 indicate that hypertrophy can be achieved by weightlifters who train by lifting and pulling moderate weight loads and allowing short rest periods between sets. These routines are able to induce the high levels of metabolic stress and moderate muscular tension that are needed for optimal hypertrophy to occur. Healthline in 2019 recommends lifting enough weight to bring the muscles to fatigue, which means between 6 and 12 reps per set, with 60 to 90 seconds rest between sets. Other sources vary this slightly, recommending between 8 and 10 reps is ideal for strength and muscle building. In any case, the weight you lift and perform the movements fully and correctly at the right pace should be heavy enough for the final 1 or 2 reps to be tough to complete. For building strength, it's important to lift sufficient weight to bring the muscles to fatigue. Lighter weights will tend to be less effective in creating muscular definition. Alternatively, if the goal is endurance, up to 18 or 20 reps can be performed, but again, with the final couple of reps being hard to complete so that muscle growth can occur. You're encouraged to vary the exercises, for example, exercising your triceps by raising the weights over your head in your first set and lowering your body weight from a bench, a calisthenic called dips, in the second set. This will help challenge and fatigue different multiple muscle fibers while strengthening the same muscles. Weekly timing. How many times a week should you perform resistance exercises to achieve muscular hypertrophy, leading to muscular growth and increased strength? The answer depends on your goals, the results you're hoping to achieve. Just be sure to allow sufficient rest between working the different muscle groups as detailed in the next section. You could try one of these weekly weightlifting schedules. Each is predicated on performing the required resistance levels, reps, sets, and between-set rests as described above. Remember that recovery is essential for hypertrophy to repair muscle damage and enable growth, which precludes ever working the same muscles or muscle groups on consecutive days. The term lifting weights refers both to traditional weightlifting, dumbbells, barbells, kettle weights, resistance machines, etc., and bodyweight calisthenics. 3-4-7. Lifting weights 3 or at most 4 days a week. This will enable you to have at least 1 full day of rest between weightlifting sessions to give your muscle time to recover. You may work all muscle groups on this schedule. However, if you're age 40 or older, a longer 2-day rest between lifting workouts is recommended. 2-3-7. Lifting weights on 2 or 3 days a week, which is recommended based on your age and fitness level. As noted, if you are 40, 50, or older, weightlifting is definitely beneficial, but your recovery time will be slower than when you were younger. Allowing 2 to 3 days to recover is advisable, and you can work all muscle groups on workout days. 5-6-7. You can lift weights virtually every day if you alternate between upper body lifting, middle body, and core exercises, and lower body lifting on different days. This approach permits you to perform intense resistance to challenge different muscle groups while allowing sufficient time, at least 2 days, for rest and recovery. In any case, give yourself at least 1 or 2 days off each week from resistance training. It will aid your recovery and help prevent both physical and mental burnout. Movement timing. The timing of weightlifting exercises is important, not just on a daily and weekly basis, but down to the timing of each individual movement. How long you allow to lift and lower weight, for example. The studies show that exercises should follow a pattern of faster concentric, muscle shortening movements and slower eccentric, muscle elongating movements. Here's what that means in actual application. Imagine you're performing curls to work your biceps using 2 dumbbells or a barbell. You're standing upright, holding the weight at arm's length with your feet shoulder width apart for balance. Begin the first part of the movement by curling or raising the weight upwards towards your chest. This is the muscle contraction concentric movement, and research shows it should be performed at a moderately fast pace, taking from 1 to 2 seconds. This is the harder working part of the exercise. After reaching the top of the movement, you then lower the weight back down to the starting position by performing the eccentric, moderately slower movement, taking 2 to 4 seconds to complete the second part of this movement. It takes less work to lower the weight. One cycle of these concentric and eccentric movements completes 1 rep and should take a total of between 3 and 6 seconds to complete. The pattern of faster concentric and slower eccentric movements apply to virtually all other weightlifting and calisthenic exercises like weighted rows, squats, bench presses, pull-ups, and push-ups. Imagine how much harder it is, for example, to perform the concentric contracting movements when you pull up on a bar or push back up from the floor when doing push-ups. That's why we do them a little faster. The importance of rest. This chapter concludes with a summary of why rest should not be an afterthought but needs to be an essential component of your fitness routine. All progress in building strength and endurance is dependent on rest. Hypertrophy is the process of repairing and rebuilding muscle cells and fibers by bringing and applying new protein, analogous to using bricks and mortar to rebuild a damaged wall. The difference, of course, is that the muscles are living tissues that grow and increase in size and strength. If the muscles do not have the necessary 1, 2, or 3 days to recover after a muscle group has worked hard, hypertrophy cannot occur. Instead of growing, the muscles can diminish in size or atrophy. The recommended 2-3-7 or 3-4-7 weekly routines allow for this needed recovery timing. Remember that the older you are, the more time your muscles need to recover. Rest is also essential to the effectiveness of your workout. Each weightlifting or calisthenic exercise cycle is composed of reps and sets of reps, typically between 8 to 18 reps with 3 sets. Rest is needed between each set to allow the muscles to recharge with glycogen and oxygen. This only takes a minute or 2, but helps appreciably to enable you to recover from the fatigue that you've reached with the reps you just completed. While performing each rep, there's rest involved, as just mentioned, but very briefly during the lowering movement, when the muscles experience eccentric, elongating tension. This extra 1 or 2 seconds gives the muscles a mini break before repeating the exertion of the slightly faster contracting lifting movement. With all this information completed, you're now ready to learn about weightlifting for men and begin your own schedule of weekly muscle and strength building exercises. Chapter 5. Weightlifting for Muscles and Strength. This chapter will provide you with a set of weightlifting exercises to help you achieve a full body muscle and strength building workout. These exercises are recommended as well-rounded and manageable, regardless of whether if you're just starting out or have experience. But they are no means complete. You're free to add or substitute other routines that you favor. But first, a quick overview of the weightlifting resistance equipment that you'll need and how to use it. A review of the equipment you'll encounter in a gym or fitness center and how to safely and effectively use them. Later in this chapter are recommendations on creating a home gym if you want to lift weights but don't have access to a gym or fitness center. Free weights. The most common are dumbbells, barbells, kettles, and weighted medicine balls. Free weights refer to those being loose or free of any guiding mechanisms. As a result, while you're able to lift them in any variety of ways, there can be risks if improper movements or potentially injurious movements. Dumbbells, which you hold in each hand, are less stable than barbells, which you hold and guide with both hands. Dumbbells may be fixed weight and displayed on a rack in ascending weight levels or adjustable. As the name implies, barbells are weights attached to each end of a long bar, which adds its own weight to the eventual combination of the bar and round weights. Barbells are almost always adjustable. Kettles or kettle weights are bell-shaped weights that are often limited to lifting from the floor to mid-body or chest while bent over as compared to over the lifter's head. Kettle weights are fixed, as are medicine balls, which are generally held to increase resistance, for example during crunches or squats. Gyms typically have either a bar or handles for bodyweight pull-ups and chin-ups. These use your own body weight for resistance and are covered in the next chapter. Tip: use free weights for curls, bench presses, shrugs, squats, and overhead lifts, but be sure the weights are manageable and you can keep them under control. Tip: when doing bench presses, if the press assist device called a Smith press that holds and guides the barbell and keeps it from falling on you is available, take advantage of its guiding and safety mechanisms. You can choose how much weight to add to the device's barbell. Weight machines. The opposite of free weights is the resistance machines that guide all of your movements. For this reason, they're considered preferable to free weights, both for safety and for the efficiency of the movements, since you may be able to lift heavier weights. These machines are heavy, expensive pieces of equipment traditionally found only in gyms and fitness centers and not usually appropriate to have in your home. However, technically smart home exercise equipment is quickly becoming popular. These intelligent machines are being offered at competitive prices and enable home workout enthusiasts to perform a wide range of resistance and cardiovascular benefits. More about this in the section on home gyms. There are fitness center machines you can use to develop all parts of the body with varying resistance levels you can adjust. There are leg lifts for the lower body to strengthen the quadriceps and the muscles that hold the kneecap in place, and a separate machine that builds the hamstrings behind the thighs. Upper and mid-body exercises include pushing handles outward from the chest to full extension, pushing directly overhead to challenge the shoulders and upper arms further. There are machines with cables that you can pull from standing and sitting positions for arm and shoulder work, and for the chest and back, including the hard-to-reach latissimus and trapezius muscles. Included here is the pull-down machine that simulates pull-ups and chin-ups with the advantage of variable resistance. Some gyms have curling machines that build the biceps, the front of the arms, and the triceps, back of the arms, depending on handle positions. They may also have one or more machines that tense and tighten the core abdominal muscles. Rowing machines are excellent for building the back muscles, shoulder, and secondarily your chest and side core muscles, and your lower body. If done with lower resistance and for a sustained period, rowing can offer good cardiovascular benefits. Home-based rowing machines are rapidly gaining acceptance, discussed in the home gym note below. Resistance tubes and bands. You'll see these multicolored lengths of rubber or other elastic materials, some with handles, hanging from a railing in most gyms. These are the tubes and or bands that have the singular purpose of allowing you to work your muscles by stretching these bands. These simple devices have no virtual weight of their own, yet can provide impressive and challenging resistance. The colors are often an indication of resistance levels, but it's easy enough to give the different tubes and straps a few stretches and get a good sense of how loose or tense it is. One of the benefits of elastic resistance equipment is portability. You can toss a set of 3 into a small gym bag, briefcase, handbag, or even a large pocket. Another benefit is the low cost. You can purchase a set of 3 bands and or tubes in a sporting goods store or a big box store, or even online for under $20. You can use resistance elastics as an alternative or supplement to working out with dumbbells, barbells, and other gravity-induced weights and machines. This can work muscles in different ways and provide variety. In most cases, the strap or tube is wrapped around a horizontal or vertical bar at various heights to facilitate pulling upward, straight back, or downward. Other positions involve standing on one end of the band or tube. Use 2 elastics to work both arms at the same time. Exercises that you can perform with elastics include the following when combined. These can be a total body workout: chest presses and chest pulls, shoulder presses, bent over rows, lateral raises, leg presses, calf presses, triceps extensions, and bicep curls. Creating a home gym. You may avoid the cost and inconvenience of a fitness center or gym membership by setting up a small gym at home. This will incur some expenses and require some space, which ideally should be a dedicated area where you can have privacy if desired. At one extreme, you may have a home gym for body calisthenics that requires no equipment except a floor mat and an optional pull-up bar, and you'll be able to conduct full-body workouts. This is the subject of the next chapter. The following applies to weightlifting at home. For weightlifting, what equipment is needed? That depends on your ambitions, whether you want to add cardio, which is covered in Chapter 7, and how much equipment you want to store and have room for. Free weights. A set of dumbbells is the simplest approach. For economy of expenditure and space, consider a set that includes 2 short bars and a group of circular iron weights that allow you to vary the resistance. If you have room to add a barbell, you may just need the single long bar and some additional circular weights. Stay aware that free weights need to be lifted attentively to avoid injury and should not exceed weights that you can lift for 8 complete reps. Be sure to keep these weights away from children. Body weight. As you'll learn in the next chapter on calisthenics, pull-ups and chin-ups are calisthenics that use the resistance of your own weight and give you a very challenging workout for your arms, shoulders, and back and core muscles. You can buy a portable pull-up bar that installs in a doorway without damage and is easily removed for storage. Resistance elastic bands and tubes are an ideal addition to your home gym. They take up no space, are inexpensive, and provide the potential for a full-body workout. Take time to check out the options, there are many, and make sure you have a good range of tensions. It's possible to increase resistance by using 2 or even 3 bands together, although it's best to use individual bands or tubes with the right resistance for you. You may vary resistance by increasing or decreasing the distance between where you stand or sit and the bar the elastic is connected to. Smart machines. As described in the introduction to machines, technically smart home exercise equipment has recently become popular, especially as more people are working from home or just staying home. These intelligent machines are being offered at competitive prices and enable home workout enthusiasts to perform a wide range of resistance exercises. For example, smart rowing machines can offer exercisers of all levels and abilities the means to have a full-body workout regularly in the privacy of their homes. Some of these machines are interactive, responsive to the exercise performance, provide video instructions from a professional trainer, and can place the exerciser into virtual fitness class environments. Some newer smart machines combine resistance exercises and cardio workouts. Your weightlifting exercise routine. Given the goal of building more lean muscle and increasing strength, these weightlifting exercises are recommended to form a full-body workout, covering the upper body, mid-body and core, and lower body. Remember to rest each muscle group for at least 1 day, preferably 2 days, to allow the hypertrophy repair and rebuilding process to do its work. You may choose your own schedule. For example, 3-7 with workouts on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. These can each be full-body routines or limited to 1 or 2 body sections because there's a day off between workouts. Take the weekend off. If you're a middle-aged weightlifter, consider limiting each activity to 1 body section to give it 2 days or more to rest. 5-7 with workouts Monday through Friday. You could work your upper body on Monday, the mid-body on Tuesday, and your lower body on Wednesday. Then you can return to the upper body on Thursday and to the mid-body on Friday and take off Saturday and Sunday as rest days. Resume the workouts with your lower body on Monday. When you perform these exercises, remember to manage how much weight you're lifting and try to perform 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps, with the last 1 or 2 reps being tough to do but not so heavy that you can't get your 8 done cleanly, correctly. Allow 60 to 90 seconds to rest between each set. Most of the following weightlifting exercises are compound, meaning they work and build multiple muscle groups and body regions. Bent over rows. This exercise will strengthen your back muscles, the trapezius rhomboids and latissimus, as well as challenging the biceps in the upper arm and posterior deltoids while stabilizing the core and lower section of your mid-body. Hold a dumbbell in each of your hands with your palms facing your body and maintain your feet shoulder-width apart. Bend your knees and lean forward from the hips as you keep your back straight. Begin the movement with the dumbbells held at arm's length with your arms fully extended. Lift the dumbbells upwards, extending high, feeling the tension in your shoulders, back, and chest as you reach the top. Inhale as you lift, then exhale as you lower the weights to the starting position to complete 1 rep. Do 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps with a rest of 60 to 90 seconds between sets. You can vary the grip on the dumbbells by having your palms face to the rear. This will vary the muscles you work. Consider lifting with palms to the sides during sets 1 and 3 and to the rear in set 2. Tip: if your back is straining, lower how far you go in the forward bend to relieve pressure on the spine. Tip: if you find doing 8 reps too difficult, use lighter dumbbells. Side lateral raises. These weighted raises are for building the upper body, notably the shoulders and upper back and sides latissimus and trapezius muscles. Get ready by standing upright with your feet placed shoulder width apart for balance. Pick up 2 dumbbells and hold these weights at your side with the palms turned to be facing your body. You should fully extend your arms downward. Lift the dumbbells upward and outward and squeeze your shoulder blades together while holding your arms straight. No bending at the elbows. Raise the weights to the level of your shoulders with your arms parallel to the ground. Lower until the weights are by your sides to complete 1 rep. Perform 8 to 10 reps in 3 sets with 60 to 90 seconds rest between sets. Exhale as you lift the weight and inhale as you lower it. Tip: this exercise can be tough on the shoulders, so try with lighter weights at first and do more reps and build up over a few weeks. Seated cable rows. This is a compound exercise, meaning it contracts and works multiple muscle groups. Seated rows primarily work the upper arms, forearms, and shoulders, the upper back, and the core, front, sides, and middle back. It can provide quite a strenuous workout, and if performed over 10 minutes or more at a good pace, can provide cardiovascular benefits. You perform these rows on a weighted horizontal machine that uses a cable that you pull and in turn raises and lowers an adjustable stack of weights. When seated and having selected a weight level, lean forward and grip the cable's handle with both hands. Begin the movement by pulling the handle back towards your midsection. Raise your back to an upright position and keep it upright as the rowing exercise continues, pulling the cable back, pausing at the peak of the pull, then letting the weighted cable pull you back to the starting position. Tip: maintain good posture by keeping your back straight and pushing your chest out as you contract your shoulder blades. Weighted squats. This is a basic lower body exercise that strengthens the quadriceps, the front of thighs, gluteus maximus, buttocks, and calves, and challenges the hip flexors, core muscles, and hamstrings, the rear of the thighs. To begin, you may perform squats without a weight, using just your body weight as explained in the next chapter, but this explanation assumes you're ready for a light barbell to add resistance. Stand upright, facing the barbell, unweighted on the rack directly in front of you. Lift the bar and place it on your shoulders, behind your head, being careful not to let it rest on your spine. Slowly squat down, keeping your back straight, and being sure to keep your balance. Do not lean forward or you will risk falling. Lower until your thighs are parallel to the floor, then rise back up to the starting position. Do not squat all the way down. Be sure to keep your back in an upright position throughout the movement. This completes 1 rep. While you've been instructed to try for 8 reps, it may be hard initially, so 4 or 6 may be all you can do for a week or 2 until your strength starts to build. Tip: if you're unable to complete squats with a barbell, begin with no added weight except for your own body weight, and when you're ready, graduate to light dumbbells in each hand. Tip: if your knees hurt or pop while lowering or raising, make the descents less deep. Bench press. This popular exercise may be performed with a barbell or with dumbbells and builds and strengthens the chest muscles and the triceps at the back of your arms. It also works the front deltoid shoulder muscles. It's been cited as helping improve everyday activities like pushing and carrying. If you have access to a specialized bench press rack, by all means use it to help guide the lift, but you may use any standard flat bench. We'll assume you're using a rack and have the bar suspended above your chest. Grip the bar with a wide shoulder-width grip. Lift the bar off the rack, or with the rack simply hold the bar or the 2 dumbbells and lower the weight to your chest. Exhale as you press the bar straight up towards the ceiling until your arms are straight. Lower the bar slowly back to your chest, inhaling during this downward movement. This completes 1 rep, and if you're able, perform 8 reps before returning the bar to the rack or lower it or the dumbbells to the side. Tip: if you're using the bar freely without the guide rack, it'll be good to have a helper assist you with the bar. Dumbbell curls. This is the most focused movement to contract and build the biceps and may also be performed with a barbell. The shoulders and triceps benefit secondarily. Stand upright with your feet slightly apart for balance and with the weights held at arm's length. Your palms should be facing forward as you grip the dumbbell or barbell. Exhale and raise the weights using only your forearms. Your upper arms should remain at your sides next to your body. Raise the weight close to your shoulders, then inhale as you lower the weights to fully extend your arms to complete 1 rep. Be sure to keep the dumbbells in an arc without letting them drift or pull to the sides. And be sure to lift and lower the weights fully, keeping your elbows pointing downward as you raise and lower, and keeping your upper arms close to your body. Tip: if you're using a barbell, grip the bar a little closer than shoulder width for the fullest effect. Overhead lifts. You may perform these lifts with dumbbells or a barbell. The upper body muscles that benefit the most from this exercise are the triceps and shoulders, with secondary involvement of the latissimus and trapezius muscles for the upper sides and upper back. With good posture, the core will tighten and feel the tension. Stand erect and hold the dumbbells at shoulder height and with the palms of your hands facing your head. Lift the weights directly upwards towards the ceiling, but keep your back straight and your head looking straight ahead. Lower the weights to your shoulders to complete 1 rep. If using a barbell, grip the bar shoulder width apart with your palms facing forward, holding the bar close to your chest and your elbows pointing downward. Lift and lower as with the dumbbells. When lowering the weights to the floor at the end, bend your knees to protect your back. Tip: you may perform overhead lifts from a sitting position on a bench. Be sure to lift as with the standing version and keep the back straight. Crunches, planks, and leg raises. The best exercises for building the abdominal muscles and the mid-body group of muscles are actually body weight calisthenics that are covered in the following chapter. These exercises are the latest generation of core exercises proven effective in helping give you defined six-pack abs while minimizing the risk of injury if done correctly. Sit-ups have been discontinued due to lower back injuries and are less effective than crunches. Refer to the core and trunk resistance exercises in Chapter 6 for instruction on these 3 excellent ab-building workouts. Be aware that exercise cannot spot reduce, so you'll need to lose weight to shed any layers of abdominal fat to let those defined abs shine through. Chapter 6. Calisthenics for Muscles and Strength. Here you'll learn how you can perform a full range of resistance exercises using only your own body weight. Calisthenics can supplement a traditional workout with weights or serve as an effective resistance program on their own. In this chapter, you'll find a group of calisthenic exercises for a full body workout. Can you believe in bodyweight calisthenics? Men have been engaged in bodybuilding for thousands of years. The ancient Greek athletes come to mind. Their workouts to achieve the muscular physiques that sculptors sought to recreate were not done in gyms and fitness centers with dumbbells and barbells. They built their bodies with bodyweight calisthenics. If you need a more contemporary argument, consider gymnasts, the athletes we see on the parallel bars, rings, and pull-up bars. They have an ideal musculature. It's all about strength, flexibility, and definition. These are true athletes, and you can work to approach looking like them and having much of their strength. But you don't have to go through their intensive gymnastic training. This is what bodyweight calisthenics can do for you. Just like weightlifting, calisthenics works by contracting and working the upper body, arms, shoulders, chest, and back, the mid-body, which includes the abdominals, obliques, mid and lower back, and the lower body, from hip flexors and gluteus maximus to the quadriceps and hamstrings that make up the thighs and down to the calves. If you're not sure your own body weight can offer the quantity of resistance that free weights and machines can, think of when you perform a pull-up, a squat, or even a calf raise. If you weigh 180 pounds, that's how much you're pulling or pushing up and lowering down. Impressed? Keep an open mind until you've gone through the 3 sets of full-body calisthenics workout. You'll get the idea. Minimal equipment needed. If you prefer to conduct your resistance exercises at home, bodyweight calisthenics have you covered. Except for pull-ups and chin-ups, you can perform all of the calisthenics presented here and the vast others out there in a limited space with no weights, machines, or heavy equipment. Yes, pull-ups and chin-ups require a pull-up bar, but portable installation-free doorway bars are inexpensive and available widely at retail and online. And below you'll find how to do an Australian pull-up and chin-up using only a broomstick or a mop stick. Upper body resistance exercises, pull-ups and chin-ups. These 2 classic calisthenics differ only in the way you grip the bar. A pull-up is performed with the palms gripping the bar facing forward and shoulder-width apart. For a chin-up, the bar is gripped with the hands about 6 inches apart and with the palms facing rearward. Both versions work your shoulders, upper back, and chest muscles. Chin-ups also isolate and work the biceps more than pull-ups. As noted, in a home gym, a portable pull-up bar is needed, or see the alternative Australian pull-up below. Begin by reaching up and gripping the bar in either position. Exhale as you pull your chest towards the bar until your nose is even with the bar. Inhale as you lower down to the starting position with your arms fully extended to complete the rep. Make the movement smooth, not jerky, and try to keep your legs pointing downward rather than swinging forward. Tip: if needed, use a block or bench to reach and correctly grip the bar comfortably. This action is preferable to jumping. Tip: pull-ups and chin-ups can be difficult at first. You may benefit from some assistance either by having a helper hold your legs and lifting you, or by attaching a looped elastic band to the bar and stepping into it. The stretch of the elastic will partially offset your weight. Push-ups. This time-tested exercise develops strong shoulders and upper arms, especially the triceps behind your upper arms. It gives serious tension to the abdominals and the rest of the core. The starting position is to drop to your hands and knees and then extend forward, facing downward with arms fully extended and your hands placed beneath your shoulders. Your legs should be fully extended to the rear so that your upper weight is supported by your arms and shoulders. This is also the plank position. Lower your body until your face and chest are close to the floor, and then push yourself back up to the starting position to complete 1 rep. Inhale when you're lowering down, and exhale during the more strenuous pushing back up. Tip: once you become accustomed to push-ups and can easily complete 8 to 12 reps, slow the cycles of lowering and pushing back up to make each rep harder. Tip: if push-ups are difficult at first, try these transitional movements. Rest your hands on a bench or chair so your body's at an incline, or drop to your knees to lessen the body weight to lift. Australian pull-ups. This variation is easier than traditional pull-ups, and you can do it at home because it doesn't require a pull-up bar. A broomstick or pole can be sufficient. As with conventional pull-ups, these movements are for the shoulders, upper back, upper arms, and chest. You may also perform chin-ups with a palms back grip which targets the biceps. To set up, arrange 2 sturdy pieces of furniture or benches about 2.5 or 3 feet apart. Suspend a broomstick, sturdy pole, or a barbell bar between the benches so that it's horizontal to the floor and about 3 feet above the floor. You have considerable latitude in height, so don't be concerned. To perform the movements, lie face upwards on the floor beneath the bar and the bar suspended above your chest. Reach up and grip the bar with palms facing forward for pull-ups, shoulder width apart. Pull yourself upward to bring your chest close to the bar, exhaling as you rise, keeping your body straight and not allowing your hips to sag. Lower back down, inhaling, but stop before your back reaches the floor. No resting. This completes 1 rep. Try to do 8 to 10 reps per set for 3 sets. Tip: If you wish to do Australian chin-ups, reverse the grip, but keep your hands close to shoulder width apart to prevent too much strain on the center of the broomstick handle or pole. Triceps dips. On days when push-ups or pull-ups are not in your plan but you'd like to do some quick exercises for your triceps, bench dips are a good option. These dips will give your triceps, shoulders, and your upper back an efficient workout. Stand next to a bench, low table, or a sturdy chair. Sit down on the leading edge of the bench and grip the bench on both sides of your hips. Extend your legs forward so their weight is on your heels. Now push your body weight up slightly and slide forward so your body is suspended, held up by your fully extended arms. Begin the movement by lowering your body downward, feeling the tension building in your triceps and shoulders as you lower. Inhale as you descend. As you reach what feels like the low point, push yourself back up to the starting position in front of, not on, the bench. Exhale as you rise. This cycle completes 1 rep. Continue to do 8 reps, or fewer if difficult, in 3 sets with 90 seconds rest between sets. Tip: if the dips are challenging, instead of reducing the reps, try lowering less deeply and move your legs back so your feet can be flat on the floor beneath your knees. This will reduce the weight you are lowering and raising. Core and mid-body resistance exercises. Crunches. These are deceptively challenging to your upper and lower abdominal muscles and are an excellent source of defined abs, the famous six-pack. Oblique and lower back muscles and the hip flexors are also engaged. Crunches have replaced sit-ups for most trainers and physiologists because crunches actually do more work for the effort invested and are less likely to cause back pain or spinal issues. Be sure to perform crunches with adequate cushioning to prevent discomfort or injury. A yoga mat or a carpeted floor should be sufficient. Lie on your back with your feet about halfway back and flat on the floor so your knees are pointing upward. Raise your arms and cushion the back of your head with your hands. This is not for lifting, but to support your head and prevent neck injury. Begin the crunch by raising your shoulders about 6 inches, tensing your abdominals, and holding the raised position for 2 to 4 seconds, exhaling as you rise. Slowly lower back down to the starting position, inhaling. This is 1 rep. Repeat 8 to 12 times for the first of 3 sets. An alternative is to cross your arms in front of your chest instead of steadying your head. Some may find this more comfortable because the weight of your arms is forward, but this should only be done by those whose necks are strong enough to support the head. Tip: as you become stronger, you can increase the resistance by holding a medicine ball or other moderate weight against your chest. Be careful to curl upward and not strain your lower back. Tip: for variation and increase the range of motion, you may perform crunches on an exercise ball. Be sure to hold your head as you lay back to protect your neck from strain and don't overextend the movement. Planks. Fitness experts regard planks as the consummate exercise for the core, including the abdominals, lower chest, sides, and the muscles that support the thoracic, upper, and lumbar, lower spine. Despite its simplicity, the humble plank will challenge your ability to maintain this position without drooping. There are 2 versions. For the first, assume the starting position for the push-up facing the floor with your weight supported by your hands, which are placed beneath your shoulders, and with your arms fully extended. Your body and legs are fully extended, and the weight to the rear is supported by your feet and toes. For the second alternative position, your upper body is supported not by extended arms, but by your forearms, which are extended forward with your elbows below your shoulders. For comfort and balance, you may adjust the position of your forearms back or to the sides. With either position, there's nothing more to do. No movement, simply holding the position. Beginners may only be able to hold for as little as 10 to 15 seconds, but with practice, you can hold the plank in good form for 1 minute and eventually up to 2 minutes or more. Tip: to fully benefit, keep your back level, neither arched nor sagging. Tip: when you are competent with the motionless plank, you can slowly lower your body weight towards the floor and hold that position for a few seconds, then slowly raise back up. Lying leg raises. This exercise is especially useful in contracting and building the core abdominal muscle groups. It involves the legs by stretching the hamstrings behind your legs, strengthening the hip flexors and gluteus maximus and medius. Start by lying flat on your back with legs fully extended and with your arms at your sides. Be sure to be lying on a mat, carpet, or several layers of towels to protect your back. Pull your knees towards your chest and continue the motion upwards until your legs are fully extended and pointing towards the ceiling. This is the starting position. Lower your legs towards the floor, keeping them fully extended. Continue lowering until your heels are close to but not touching the floor, inhaling as you lower. Now, raise your legs back to the vertical position, exhaling as you raise. When your legs are pointing to the ceiling, the rep is completed. Continue to achieve the target number of reps. Tip: if you find it hard to keep your legs fully extended, bend your knees slightly. This will ease the tension in your hamstrings and reduce the weight slightly. Tip: if your lower back is hurting, cushion it by sliding a folded towel or small cushion under your hips. You may also try sliding your hands under your hips. Lower body resistance exercises. Body weight squats. This respected leg exercise may be performed with weights as explained in the previous chapter, or by simply using your own weight to create the resistance. It benefits the thighs, notably the quadriceps, as well as the calves and hip flexors. Start by standing upright with the feet about shoulder width or slightly wider for balance. Your feet should point forward or be slightly turned outward. Keep your back straight and either cross your arms across your chest or, alternatively, extend your arms straight forward. You can determine which position gives you better balance. Begin the movement by lowering yourself directly downward without bending or leaning. Descend until your thighs are parallel to the floor. Exhale as you descend. Push back up, maintaining good posture and form, being careful not to lean or bend. Exhale as you rise up. Come to the starting upright position to complete one rep. Tip: if you have difficulty completing the squat or if your knees hurt, limit how far you descend. Don't go all the way down. Do 8 to 12 reps or fewer if necessary at first. Squats will come easier in a short time. Perform 3 sets and allow 90 seconds rest between sets. If you have balance issues, you may lean against a wall and slide up and down, keeping in light contact with the wall. Calf raises. This is a simple exercise that requires more reps than usual, but is worth the effort for its isolation and development of the calf muscles at the rear of your lower leg. The calf muscles give propulsion to our steps and our strides, but are frequently underdeveloped by athletes and muscle builders. The movement involves just rising up and down on your toes, slowly, fully, and deliberately. For balance, you may place your hands on a wall, a bar, or anything that is convenient, but do not lean or allow your body weight to be reduced. If you can breathe out as you rise and inhale as you lower, it will contribute to your pacing of the movement. In most cases, as a beginner, you should be able to perform 12 or more reps to start and quickly graduate to 18, 20, or more. Do the raises until the last few are difficult. Rest for 60 seconds between sets and do a total of 3 sets. Tip: as you become proficient, calf raises can be made more challenging by slowing the raising and lowering and pausing for a second or two at the top of the raise movement. Tip: another challenge is to hold a weighted barbell or a pair of dumbbells or a kettle weight to increase the resistance. Chapter 7: Cardiovascular Conditioning. The objective of this chapter is to provide a comprehensive basis for practicing cardiovascular conditioning for better overall fitness, health, and to avoid heart disease and other serious life-threatening disorders. A range of options exist to achieve and sustain the necessary elevated heart rates for aerobic conditioning, including moderate and intense workouts and bursts of high-intensity intervals. What is cardiovascular conditioning? When you exercise your heart muscle on a regular and sustained basis over an extended period so that the heart grows stronger and more efficient, That is the basis of cardiovascular conditioning, also called aerobic activity, meaning with oxygen. During aerobic activity, your muscles are moved and put to work in the arms, legs, and throughout your body. Your heart rate increases to double or more its resting rate, and your breathing becomes faster and deeper. The result is an increased amount of oxygen in your blood, which is delivered to the muscles for increased energy and endurance. Over time, aerobic conditioning helps you to use this oxygen more efficiently. Your aerobic capacity is your effectiveness in using oxygen. A high level of aerobic capacity means that your heart, lungs, and your blood vessels are able to efficiently distribute oxygen in good quantities to all the cells of your body, helping you to feel greater energy and endurance, keeping you going longer. Health and longevity benefits. On an everyday basis, being in good cardiovascular condition will enable you to walk, climb stairs, lift and carry and perform other work with less effort and without feeling fatigue or exhaustion. But the benefits go far deeper, as cited by the Mayo Clinic in 2021. Your heart will grow stronger and more resilient, so it pumps more slowly, fully, and longer without issues. A strong heart is a healthy heart, as aerobic conditioning helps to prevent or lower high blood pressure, avoid heart disease by keeping your arteries unclogged and flowing smoothly, and preventing the onset of type 2 diabetes. Aerobics helps you to manage your weight and prevent obesity by burning hundreds of calories during and after each workout. It also helps to control your appetite. You'll be less hungry following the workouts, and at mealtime, you'll feel fuller sooner. Feel better with greater self-esteem. Cardio exercise workouts cause your brain to release beta-endorphin hormones, which improve your mood, the so-called runner's high, which occurs regardless of how you exercise aerobically. Prevent insomnia and reduce stress. Cardio conditioning helps you sleep better at night by relaxing your mind and muscles, lowering stress levels, and helping to sustain a state of inner calm. A workout erases worries, frustrations, and anxieties. Reduce the pain and stiffness of arthritis through joint movement and the increased flow of lubricating bodily fluids. Attaining a state of good cardiovascular condition combined with a healthy, balanced diet eaten in moderation, along with resistance training, will reward your investment of time and energy with a more robust and potentially longer life. Types of aerobic exercises. There are numerous ways to achieve cardiovascular conditioning. Your objective is to select the exercises that you enjoy, so you're more likely to practice them more regularly and stay with them over the long term. Check with your doctor before starting to exercise aerobically, especially if you're middle-aged or over. Cardio conditioning is beneficial and recommended at every age, but it's important to ensure that you're good to go, or if you have any condition that might preclude certain exercises. One example is knee or other joint problems that would make it inadvisable for high-impact activity like running or jumping on hard surfaces. Select from any exercise that will increase your heart rate and breathing intensity on a continuing rhythmic basis, like running, walking fast, cycling, swimming laps, elliptical machines, stair climbers. A treadmill will allow running or fast walking without impact, and you can adjust the speed and incline for greater intensity. As described in the introduction to machines, technically smart home exercise equipment has recently become popular, especially as more people are working from home or just staying home. These intelligent machines are being offered at competitive prices and enable home workout enthusiasts to gain a wide range of cardiovascular benefits. Some of these machines are interactive and are responsive to the exercise performance, providing video instructions from a professional trainer, and can place the exerciser into virtual fitness class environments. Some newer smart machines combine cardio and resistance workouts. Frequency, intensity, and duration. One of the questions of how much and how often is cardio exercise needed, at the Cleveland Clinic, Dr. Eric Van Eiderson, who specializes in preventive cardiology, recommends, try getting a 30-minute workout 5 or more days a week that raises your heart rate for the duration of the activity, or 3 10-minute workouts 5 or more days a week. Additional perspective from the American Heart Association in 2021 recommends you try to do a minimum of 150 minutes of what's considered moderate intensity exercise, which gets your heart pumping, or if you prefer a harder workout, getting 75 minutes of vigorous intensity exercise during the course of the week. Vigorous means you might find it difficult to hold a conversation while running or race walking or hiking uphill, for example. You might do 3 25-minute intense workouts per week. What about high intensity? You may have heard of high-intensity interval training, HIIT. These are fast, vigorous bursts of 20 to 60 seconds, followed by a slower recovery pace for 2 minutes or so, followed by another high-intensity burst, another recovery, another burst, until 6 to 10 bursts are completed. The burst should begin well after you're warmed up, ideally at least 15 minutes into the aerobics workout when your heart is ready for the extra work. The benefits are believed to include more conditioning in a shorter time and greater speed and endurance. High-intensity interval training bursts are, as described, intense, meaning you're going all out at maximum speed and effort. These are not for everyone. If you want to give them a try, keep them shorter at first and with longer recovery intervals. For mental and physical variety, you can vary the routine, jogging on one day, swimming on another, and walking fast on another. Keep it interesting so you don't get bored or risk burning out, although in time, your cardiovascular workouts will become part of your lifestyle. Warming up and slowing down. Every aerobics workout should start slowly to give your heart and circulatory system time to increase supplying blood and oxygen to the muscles. Allow from 5 to 10 minutes of walking or other exercises at low speed before getting the pulse rate up. You'll find it easier to increase the intensity if you give your body the needed warm-up. A bit of light stretching is a good idea before starting, but save the more intensive stretching for after the aerobics when your muscles and joints are well conditioned. At the end of the workout, cool down to let your body get used to the idea that the harder work is over just as you warmed up to start. Don't stop the treadmill or elliptical suddenly or go from jogging or fast walking to sitting down. Walk off the beating heart until it tells you it's slowed down. Your heart rate won't return to normal for a while, but it should go down sufficiently within a few minutes. Post-aerobics is a good time to do more serious stretching or some yoga. It's also ideal for your weightlifting or calisthenics resistance training since every muscle cell and fiber is richly aerated and ready for additional action. Chapter 8. The Diet and Fitness Lifestyle. The final chapter unifies dietary and exercise practices as inseparable components of a healthier, better way of life. These include developing your motivation to get started and the commitment to keep your dietary and fitness practices going, overcoming obstacles. The integrated relationship. This book's underlying theme has been the relationship between exercise and diet since they're components of a healthy, fitness, and strength-driven lifestyle. They're inseparable since neither exercise nor diet alone can achieve the holistic goals of building muscle, gaining strength, managing your weight, resisting diseases, and benefiting from good health. You need exercise and good eating and dietary practices to live your best life and increase your chances of living it longer. You have a range of choices you can make to adopt and embrace this lifestyle based on personal preferences. A resistance program based on lifting weights that you can participate in at a gym or fitness center or at home. You can have complete resistance workouts at no cost if you practice body weight calisthenics. There are many weightlifting and calisthenic resistance exercises for you to consider beyond the basic movements you've read about here. Ideally, you'll supplement your resistance program with cardiovascular conditioning to build a strong heart and circulatory system, which will keep heart disease, diabetes, obesity, and numerous other diseases and conditions from developing or progressing. A consistent aerobics program will also help burn calories and augment your resistance exercises by oxygenating and enriching your muscles. Intermittent fasting has merits for health and weight management, especially the daily 16/8 or the more challenging 18/6 fasts. But be sure to adopt a Mediterranean type of diet with a balance of fresh vegetables, fish and dried fruit, whole grains and beans, fish, lean meats, low-fat dairy, eggs, and extra virgin olive oil as the primary fat source. Avoid greasy, fried, processed, and sugar-laden foods. Recognize that your weight depends primarily on how much you eat, so make those portions smaller. Give extra attention to protein. You'll need more than average to build, and protein will keep you feeling fuller longer and snacking less often. Motivation and commitment. You may ask, if exercise and good dietary practices are essential for a good, long life, why are so many people not participating in this healthy, beneficial lifestyle? Why are 2/3 of the population overweight or obese? Why are so few people well-built and physically fit? Excellent questions, and given what's at stake, it's hard to understand. Hard, that is, until you realize that most people sadly lack the motivation to begin an exercise and diet lifestyle, or the commitment to keep it going beyond a few brief efforts. In reading to this point, there's no doubt of your motivation and commitment, but to help you through the rough spots and over the hurdles, here are some solutions. No way today. There'll be days when it feels like you just can't do it. There's no way you can face the weightlifting or the calisthenics or the treadmill, or all of them. You're tired, or you're running late, or everything hurts. We all have days like that, but there's a way to get past this. Tell yourself you're just going to do a light or mini workout, just a few exercises, only 10 minutes on the treadmill. Then get going, and the chances are good that the full workout will unfold as you warm up. If not, no worries. Just call it a recovery day. Tomorrow is another day. Time. You say you don't have time to fit exercise routines into your day. This is a common excuse, and it's invariably not realistic. It's not a matter of time. It's all about motivation. If you think about it, you have 8 hours or so, 1/3 of a day to sleep, or should get 8 hours based on the latest studies. You have time to eat, commute, work, study, or attend classes. It's up to you. Is it important to build muscles, get stronger, lose weight, and to protect your heart and your health? This is where motivation comes into play, and you need to rethink your priorities. Ask yourself what you have time for that's more important than how you look, how you feel, and how healthy you are. Soreness. Your muscles are really sore this morning. Is there a problem? Weight training has its consequences, and sore muscles can be one of them. Working your muscles and your body to fatigue produces damage. As you know, it's hypertrophy, the breakdown and rebuilding process. This can cause swelling, inflammation, and other discomforts. In addition, a key waste product of metabolism in your muscles is lactic acid, which also causes soreness and stiffness. One solution is to ratchet back the intensity of the workouts, and another is to allow a longer rest and recovery period. If you're following a 5-7 or a 6-7 schedule, try a 3-7 plan, or simply allow 2 full days of recovery between workouts. Make sure the weights you're lifting are not too heavy and causing strain. Sore knees. Our knees can be injured in various ways, including running on a hard road or sidewalk, activities like step aerobics or jumping on a hard floor, or doing squats with a heavy weight. Even a temporary sore or creaking knee can be discomforting, but it's vital to avoid long-term damage like runner's knee when overuse wears away the knee's cushioning cartilage. Be attentive to any knee pain. If it continues even after you cut back on the exercise, the wise move is to see a doctor. It's best to see an orthopedic or sports medicine specialist. If you run or work out on hard surfaces, use a good pair of athletic shoes that provide adequate heel cushioning, prevent pronation, or roll your feet laterally. This brings the book to its conclusion, which is summarized in the following pages. Conclusion. We've covered quite a bit of information and instructions in these pages, and I trust that you found the insights and motivation to begin or return to a physical fitness program that will enable you to build the muscles and strength you aspire to. Of course, that's half the equation. Diet and nutrition share at least an equal part of the responsibility in helping you become your optimal self. You're encouraged to adopt an intermittent fasting discipline, so give the 16-8 or 18-6 options a chance to help you feel better, get stronger, build muscles, lose weight, and improve your health. Remember that while fasting is about when you eat, what you eat is of considerable importance, so keep it balanced, as natural and unprocessed as you can. Increase your protein intake to build muscles, but recall the calories in, calories out principle to manage your weight. Building muscles can be achieved by lifting weights, lifting your own body weight, or ideally by integrating movements from both techniques into your workout. Perform the exercises in good form with respect to the timing, the number of reps in each set, and the rest period between sets. Give the process of hypertrophy the 1 or 2 days rest it needs for muscle repair and rebuilding. Strenuous exercise followed by rest is the key to building bigger, stronger, more defined muscles. Include cardiovascular conditioning in your weekly workout discipline. You can complete the aerobics workout, which can be completed in 3 days a week if you wish. But 5 or more days a week of getting your heart pumping will help burn more calories, keep your heart and body healthier, and will enrich your muscles with oxygen for better growth. Invest adequate time and energy in your physical and dietary health. Be confident that your motivation and commitment are what separates you from the majority to have good intentions but lack the self-discipline you have. Use this awareness to drive yourself to new heights of personal growth and development. I hope this book will make a positive difference in your achieving your fitness, dietary, and well-being goals.